Let's return our focus to Canberra now, and a few developments to get to. The wages decision today, also out of Victoria, your home state.
Yes.
Joined by Aaron Violi, the member for Casey in Melbourne. He joins me live in the studio, the Liberal MP. Bit of talk about Kooyong. Josh Frydenberg was clearly considering putting his hat in the ring. He's decided not to this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't spoken to Josh in the last few days, but obviously, as these things occur in politics, speculation ran rampant for a few days. But it is good to see that he's cleared up his position and putting his full support behind Amelia Hamer. Like myself, I've had the opportunity to spend some time with Amelia, and she's an impressive professional. She's got a great background. She's been working really hard in Kooyong, and it's a seat where we think we're in with a good chance. A lot of work to go, and we're not being complacent. But when you've got great candidates like Amelia, it's really nice to be able to work with someone like her.
Indeed, and so it does clear it up for her, that redistribution, according to many of your colleagues privately that I spoke to the last few days. It does give her a better chance to win Kooyong now, to win it back from Monique Ryan.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, as you can appreciate, I've spent a lot of time looking at the implications for Casey and for Victoria, and it's a really hard redistribution to understand the impacts for a seat like Kooyong, given the nature of the independent versus Liberal. I've seen some commentary saying that the margin will come down significantly, others saying it will hold the same. I mean, the reality is we don't know, and we also know that, the political environment has changed in the last 2 years, so it does give Amelia, on face value, a really good chance, and she's got really...
She's the sort of person you need in your party, your parliamentary party.
I think diversity of experience, as I said, a 31-year-old professional coming from a tech background similar to myself, working for a company like Airwallex, that's great experience that we need in the parliament. The areas that have come in, and let's also remember it's a draft boundary, so there could be changes, but the areas that have come in, Amelia went to school in those areas. She's worked in Melbourne, so she's got a strong connection to the potential new parts of Kooyong as well. And I'm looking forward to supporting her, along with many other great candidates that we've got all across Victoria.
On the future of Josh Frydenberg, do you think that has the caravan moved on now?
Look,
does he have a role to play in public life down the track?
I mean, I think Josh will definitely have a role to play in public life. We've seen that in the last few months. He's been very strong in his push to rid the country of anti-Semitism. I know he did a documentary with Sky, so he's continuing to be part of the conversation. He's got a great career, and I caught a little bit of your commentary before, and I'm sure Amy is quite happy to have him home. We know politics is tough, but we've got to wait and see what the future holds. And I think Josh is enjoying his corporate career, as he said publicly, and obviously still has an interest in being involved in politics. He's someone that I talk to semi-regularly and has been a good supporter, I know, for myself and many other colleagues as well.
The wages review out today.
Yes.
An uptick in the minimum wage. Is that welcome?
At a time when the Australian people are doing it really tough, any support they can get will be welcomed. 3.75%, it's an independent Fair Work Commission decision. It seems, relatively reasonable, just above the target band. I think the real key, Kieran, that the government aren't talking about is productivity. They've got no initiatives to drive productivity, because we know, and I've spent 15 years in business, if we've got strong productivity growth, it means that we can pay employees more money without impact.
They're saying Future Made in Australia is part of that agenda.
Well, we'll see. It's picking winners. We've seen Ed Husick come out, and already there's a little bit of discontent within the Labor caucus about the Future Made in Australia, and many of the initiatives that they're talking about are years away from coming to fruition, and that's if the winners that they've potentially tried to pick even work out. So they need an agenda to increase productivity today. They don't have that, and business is in a tough environment. It is a perfect storm of costs going up, whether it's wages, whether it's insurance, whether it's energy, rents, supply costs, raw materials are going up. Business is doing it tough at the moment, and the best way they can offset those increased costs without pushing prices through to consumers and driving inflation is by productivity growth. Yeah. We saw in Peter Dutton's...
So how do you go about that? Yep. This is the elusive challenge.
Yeah. So one change we announced...
What would you want to see?
Well, one change we announced as a coalition in Peter's budget in reply was increasing the $20,000 instant asset write-off from $20,000 to $30,000. The government have committed to the $20,000 for 12 months. We've said we will make it in perpetuity. And that's a change that makes a big difference, because what it does is it allows business, and I've spoken to many businesses in my community, that can invest in machinery and other equipment that gets a greater return per hour on output, but also importantly, Kieran, allows them to employ more people. So I think there's work that we can do as well. And obviously it's a tough budgetary environment, but can we look to increase that from 30,000 to more? Because it's encouraging businesses to invest. It's encouraging businesses to back themselves. It drives more productivity. It creates more jobs in Australia. And ultimately, we're not picking winners. Every business that wants to back themselves will get rewarded by an initiative like that.
Aaron Violi, thanks for your time. I know you've got to get to the House of Representatives for question time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kieran.